The songs of Skyrunner Teruai, The Road Not Taken. The problem with being empathic is that you can't really hate anyone. This guy named Dave acted obnoxious, xenophobic, and he had no curb to his temper. But whereas Pyroclast couldn't quite bring herself to be friends with anyone, I could never quite bring myself to be enemies with anyone. Not because I didn't lack the courage to stand up to someone. Instead, I overabundantly understood their misery. Regardless of my opinion, Dave had earned Pi's respect, which seemed to be the closest thing to friendship that someone incapable of trust gets. We put up with him in favor of the company of his wife, and he put up with us for the same reason. One time that summer, I sat on the bench of his deck, watching the sun set behind the shining leaves of the paper birch. The clouds bled with beauty. Dave lounged in a chair, his feet on the bench, drinking a beer and smoking a cigar. He celebrated his status as a newlywed, new homeowner, and a new aficionado at life. He'd earned every puff. The party roaring on inside, Pi closed the sliding door behind her, joining us in the quiet. Pi never was one to miss such a sunset. She took up the other lawn chair, and Dave passed her the cigar. After a few puffs and a compliment to the flavor, she offered it back. "Keep it, I'm done." Dave gazed out over his yard. His home. He sighed. Very little else exchanged between them, yet through the haze of smoke, something very clear happened. Like looking through to an alternate universe where their souls and subconscious spoke, but their voices did not. I watched what really happened. I heard everything they didn't say. Empathic sight pierced through it all, and they didn't even know I heard the truth. After tonight, we won't be friends. I looked at the cigar. Oh, so sharing your cigar isn't finally acceptance, but rather goodbye? How do you think I could accept you now that I know what you've done? Dave didn't even know he was thinking that. He had buried it so deep under denial. I'd expected you'd be happy for me. Pi didn't even know she had expected that until everyone's response. She didn't even know there could be another way to react until no one reacted well. Dave's temper flared across him. Damn it, Pi! I'm the one who's supposed to be happy. I could read this in his eyes. I married the person who loves me most in the world. I own this house and I poured my sweat into it. Dave's work on the tree impressed me. It had been trying to dismantle the deck with shoots which he actually sawed and axed back with his bare hands. This is my summer, with my sunset, my beer, and my cigar. How can you be happier than me? His soul screamed. Pyroclast tried to blow a smoke ring. Because she would have never flinched at this. My battle is over. The turmoil of anger and regret and frustration and envy churned in the happy man. But the truth of it was, how could you leave me behind? Pi put the spent cigar down and stood. You could come with me. You know I'd help you through your own pain. You? You? You know nothing of my pain! Always calm, she felt nothing but how to conquer it. How can you leave me behind? Souls could cry in a man who never shed a tear. Why must you stay behind? It's not for Steph. No one would have loved more to see Dave face this torment. No one would have loved more to help him through his torment than his wife, Steph. At that moment, I realized the similarity in their battles still held a horrific difference. They had both escaped their shade of hell, but Alex is still trapped there. Dave felt abandoned by a friend when Pyroclast won her battle. she now stood free, and Dave remained safe from his tormentor, able to wage his own battle for freedom from his own shade of hell. His sister, however, remained trapped with their tormentors still. Dave couldn't abandon Alex like Pyroclast abandoned him. He would suffer until Alex too could be safe. Then they would battle together. Pyroclast did not know any of this. She could not know any of this. The next morning, she would wake coughing, her voice grinding, her head pounding, and it would be years before she smoked again, if ever. Over that time, she would come to piece together everything I had just seen. She would be alienated, shunned, and wronged. Dave unconsciously took out his every rage at her for leading the way. A way he could not follow.
The Adventures of Pyroclast Dragonlord are written and read by Margaret Louise Hutton. If you would like to buy Pyroclast A Sunset, visit our Patreon page to donate.